So that's basically how it works. Now, as Attorney General, I would do a couple things. I differ from the incumbent with respect to, technically it's not illegal to be illegal in Massachusetts. Very seriously, with respect to our current status here, we don't have the same level of problems they do in Arizona. They are literally the Wild West out there. They need the laws they have. We could step it back a little. If everyone who's arraigned in court had to produce proof of citizenship, that probably would do it for us. That can be done by producing a driver's license or the registered identification. If you don't have that, then you have to prove your citizenship by some other way. That would make sense, yes.
Sorry to be a pest.
No.
But isn't it up to the Attorney General to make regulations? And it might be up to the legislature, I'm not sure. But to please show your darned ID at the ballot.
That's Secretary of State.
Is that Secretary of State?
Yeah. Secretary makes those regulations. The Attorney General has the authority to propose legislation, and that could be remedied through some legislation. When she said, technically it's not illegal to be illegal in Massachusetts, to the extent that meant something, it meant it wasn't in violation of state law. Obviously it's legal to be illegal in Massachusetts under federal law, but perhaps not state law. That may make the question. One thing I would also recommend, one thing I would do, one thing I will do as Attorney General, would be to change some of the staffing levels in that office. I will have a press secretary, just because that's probably a good idea. I will not have to shut. The $414,000 currently being spent for the press secretary budget in there enables us to see things like the Attorney General's office YouTube channel. When was the last time anyone saw that one? YouTube channel. By hiring people to do things like that, that takes our tax dollars, which otherwise could be used for things like all firemen, policemen, teachers, nurses. I would recommend not having 7. Perhaps you could have 1. Perhaps of these other 6 people, you could put 2 on a hotline, which would field calls relative to illegal aliens, and you could send the other 4 home. You could probably save a little tax money that way. Also, one thing I would do, the last thing I would do with respect to illegal immigration or illegal aliens, would be to seek to build a consensus that I don't think we have now, that it's wrong to be illegal in Massachusetts. That being here in violation of the law is wrong. Not just illegal, but wrong. If you were to ask Martha Coakley whether it's wrong to be illegally in Massachusetts, what would she say? I don't know.
Technically it's wrong.
She would say, oh, they're hard workers, yada, yada, yada.
I'm not sure what she would say. I would like to hear the answer, though, and maybe by the end of this campaign we'll hear the answer. Now, another part of what I would do would be to change the focus of the criminal prosecutions in the Attorney General's office. I would focus on things like public corruption. If you're kind enough to put me on the ballot and elect me, we would have a public corruption strike force who would get the top half-dozen attorneys in the office, put them in a unit with enough staffing, including police officers, and let them go at public corruption. Brian Wilkerson, stuffing money in her clothes, prosecuted by the feds. That should have been something our chief law enforcement officer did. It didn't happen. My guess is there are other people in Deacon Hill, if not stuffing money in their clothes, they're doing things that should be investigated. One thing that the current Attorney General has done is attack those troublemakers in the garden clubs. I got a phone call. My campaign is brand new. It'll be 2 weeks Thursday.
Impressive.
It's brand new. It's kind of
shiny.
Yeah, it's shiny and brand new. I got a phone call from a lady who's very irate. She's in the garden clubs. Now, who are the garden clubs? Are they supposed to go around and graffiti the walls and break windows? No. They care for the islands. These are the pillars of our communities. The little flowers you see that beautify our cities are cared by these nice ladies. They received a letter threatening criminal prosecution earlier this year. I guess there were nonprofits and they hadn't filed the proper registration, which I guess you have to do technically. And they should file what they're supposed to file. They should not be threatened with criminal prosecution. If I'm Attorney General in January, I will prosecute public corruption. I will not persecute the guardian.